Well, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Long time no see. Where have you all been?
I know.
It's not good enough, you know.
You deserted us, all of you, right?
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
How are you all? I hope you're all doing really well.
Yeah.
It's been about nearly 2 years,
Is it 2 years? It's got to be. I think it's 2 years since we did a video, and but we thought it appropriate now to put one together today on a very serious subject. But we thought it's timely now, and it's very much needed.
Even though Mark's not been very well recently,
Yes.
and I've not been very well. We've had flu-y cold things. I think it's that change in season and stuff. But you're looking much better than
You're
you
looking
did.
absolutely gorgeous, if you don't mind me
thank
saying
you,
so.
honey.
Yeah. So please forgive me if I look like something out of a vampire movie. I need a pint of blood, but we won't go into that. Anyway, there we
You
go.
can't have mine.
No.
It's the wrong one.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. There's so much to say. It's
All right.
ridiculous.
Maybe we should start with this. I've got it on the computer just here on the side of me that Alexandra James, jwvictims.org, has done a fantastic write-up on something that I was talking to her about yesterday. And I would strongly recommend, if you haven't yet been to her website, please go and see it, visit the website, and have a good read of all the stuff that's on there. Some fantastic publications that she's put on there. But the latest one is called Will Jehovah's Witnesses Face a UK Inquiry for Child Sex Abuse in Their Midst? And we've had a bit of a write-up. I feel quite humble some of the things that she said in there. But
Well, you know, to be honest, Ali, what I'm going to say is Mark has been working tirelessly on this since 2012. And one of the reasons why we haven't done a video for so long is because people have thought, oh, they've gone off the face of the earth, they're not doing this. No, we've been busy behind the scenes, and we've never stopped. We've always been very active, but in order to be focusing on one thing, you have to let other things sort of just take a back seat. And there's so many fantastic videos out there now on YouTube, and new faces coming up, and we're considered old school now because there's so many other new people out there, which is amazing. Yeah. So we're not needed on YouTube. There's plenty of people out there, but on certain subjects it's good to keep you updated, because there's certain things that people aren't aware of, and that's because it's personal to us that we've been involved with. So until they're actually at the completion, we can only give you ideas of where we are with it all. Hopefully we're getting somewhere really, really good now.
yeah.
And it is all really positive, which is fantastic. But we've also been speaking to lots of victims online, and obviously over the phone and via email, and survivors, not just victims but survivors, people who've been through horrendous accounts through their lives with their experiences through the Watchtower, and being either out of it now and the experiences they've had since. But it's been amazing. We've met some wonderful people, and
We certainly have.
we now consider them friends because we've
Yeah.
been in contact with them for so long.
Yeah.
But it's so lovely to see so many people coming out.
Yeah.
It's like the floodgates have opened. I think
They have.
since the internet has been such a more of an important thing in people's lives, and everything's at the, sort of the touch of a button, it's so much more readily available.
Yeah.
More and more people are finding that they
We had a knock
have
on the door
answers to their question.
yesterday. Well, no, a couple of weeks ago, from a particular lady. We won't mention her name. We won't do that to her. An ex full-time pioneer who's now moving on, and we've just helped her move from a really awful situation. And so we packed up the bags and took the van. And the reason I mention that is that all this stuff is very real. And each case is unique, and everybody has a story to tell.
And they're real people.
And they need support. Everybody needs support. We need support. We all do. And so we share and keep sharing and networking, don't we?
Yes.
So we wish her all the best. You know who we're talking about, don't we? We'll call you Mrs. X or Miss X.
Miss
yeah,
X.
Miss.
Let's hope one day you're a Mrs. X.
Yes, and you know full well why. Yes.
Anyway.
Well, good luck with that. Anyway, look back.
So what I'm saying is Mark's been tirelessly working hard behind the scenes, and he's given up family time lots of times where he's just disappeared upstairs, either talking to officials or different members of different areas, and I won't go into too much detail. I don't want to give too much away, but we've got letters that span from correspondence right back to 2012. In fact, one of them I wanted to bring out today is the one that basically this one was written for our previous MP, Martin Horwood, because it used to be the Lib Dems that ran Cheltenham as a constituency, but now it's the Conservatives. But back in 2012, he wrote to. He was in communication with Martin Horde. In fact, he used to pound the streets for the Lib Dems, handing out leaflets to try and get in Martin's good books and keep him on side. Yeah. This is how much you've been doing. What were you doing
actually,
in the evenings?
Yeah, I know, I did. I'm a Labour supporter by trade. I mean, that's really. But there's no chance of a Labour. It's a long story. Labour will never get into power in Cheltenham. So it was the Liberals that and that's how I saw it at the time. But I'm going to come on to Alex in a minute, Alex Chalk, who as far as I'm concerned, he's an amazing man, and he's done some wonderful work. But anyway,
do you want to read your letter, my darling? I think you should.
This is from the Gloucestershire Safeguarding Children's Board, and I'm going to read to you a couple of letters now. I want you to understand the gravity of what we're dealing with here.
See this folder? It's one of two that Mark has, and that's full of information and correspondence that he's been doing over the last couple of years. This is just the latest, more up-to-date folder of recent correspondence. The other one is from 12 to 13 to 14.
And we're learning as we go.
Yeah,
we never stop learning.
Me. But it's really good to have all that information.
Activism
stored.
is complex. Let's just get one thing straight right away. First of all of that stuff that is done on the streets by everybody, the putting up of placards, the writing of letters, the shouting from street corners, whatever it takes, is absolutely essential. And please, if you don't ever stop doing it. If you have been involved with it, it's the fire in the belly. It's the stuff that keeps it alive. It makes everybody aware that there's something not right, and this stuff is so important. But the next question is, when we're doing all of that, where do we take all of that information when people start asking us? What do we do with it? So what we've been doing, along in conjunction with all of that type of activism, and we've been involved in it ourselves, as you can see from some of our videos. But we have been in contact with the police. I wrote 10 letters all off at the same time, different places, even the NEPCC, all sorts of places. And eventually social services got in contact with me, along with my local constabulary, the police department. And the information, I then sent them another load of information, and they put me in contact with the child abuse investigation teams called CAIT, C-A-I-T, as it was known then.
Which, for anybody out there that's interested in taking their case to the police, that's who you would need to sort of register it with.
Yeah. Oh, they'll refer you through anyway.
You to them.
Yeah, they'll be very understanding. Yeah, and if you are now thinking,
and they're trained.
Oh, they are trained. They are professional. They will believe you from day one, and they will always believe you from day one, and they will listen to everything that you have to say. So please follow that code. Don't be afraid to do that. It doesn't have to be intimidating when you're in there. So anyway, to cut a long story short, the police were involved. They were shocked, horrified even, that some of the information that I'd given them, leaked letters and the Elders Handbook, all of that stuff, on how the organisation, not just here in my own town, but across the country and indeed across the world, because we know it's universal, how they operate, how their structure operates when it comes to allegations of child rape and molestation. They were horrified. And so it reached a point where they were so disturbed by what I'd sent them that they even asked the question, are you sure that this is accurate? Is this stuff accurate? And I said, I wouldn't be making it up. It's all accurate. You couldn't
start to make it up.
No. You couldn't invent this stuff.
And like who goes, oh, positive driven lies.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah,
so anyway,
we
sent all of this stuff to them. The police then decided to interrogate a group of senior elders from the Gloucestershire area here. And if you're watching this, elders, I hope that you too will start to wake up, because many of you are, as you know, in my local area. But anyway, that aside, the police then rang me again before the interview with these senior elders and said, do you think, what other potent questions can we ask them? And I said, well, I'm glad you're doing it, but here's the rub. You will meet these men, they will be in their suits, they will smile at you, they will shake your hand, they will say that they will be fully cooperative, and then you will get absolutely nothing from them. They will refer you to Bethel HQ, Mill Hill in London, and that's exactly where they will go. The service department, the legal department, wherever it is that they've been ordered to go, and they will give you nothing. But good luck. Anyway, off they went. They had the interviews. They came back and gave me a debrief afterwards, and they said, "You're right, Mark, we got nothing." But they did say, and there was an assurance from the local body of elders, that the society itself would write to the police department and to my chief constable, no less. So that's a letter that I have here. I've never shared this letter with anybody yet, but it's about time that I'm going to read it in a second so that you can understand the gravity of what we're dealing with here.
But going back to this one, which was how one of the first correspondence from the Safeguarding Child Board. Do you want to read that one?
Shall I read it?
You can read it.
Okay.
Does anyone?
Okay.
He's better at reading out loud than
Am I?
You've had more practice.
You reckon?
Yeah. And I'm a lady, I'm not allowed.
Oh, that's right, you're not allowed, are you? She's a woman! Yeah, you're not allowed to be picking this stuff up. Know your place. Right.
No, I know that I will read it wrong, so you're best off reading it.
Oh, okay then. Well, that's because you're a woman. No, I didn't mean that.
Sorry, I'll beat him later.
Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
I'll beat him
Calm
later.
down. It was a joke. It was a joke.
It is a joke.
Right. Thank you for your letter dated the 9th of November regarding a concern raised by your constituent, Mr. Mark Ashley Latham, about the child abuse procedures of Jehovah's Witnesses. I've been in contact with the child abuse investigation teams of Gloucestershire Police, and I understand that Mr. Latham is not making any current or historic allegations of abuse that require investigation.
Come on to that in a minute.
Therefore, we are hoping to raise Mr. Latham's concerns about the policy and procedures of child abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses with elders from their congregation, in the hope that we can take this forward together. I will write again to report progress on this, but it might take some time as policies for Jehovah's Witnesses originate in America, and it is likely that elders will want to seek advice. You don't say. Well, anyway, so that was the start of it, and social services put that through, and they went for it. And as duty bound as they are, they had that meeting with the elders, and
they summoned them. You're hungry. His belly's growling, so I hope you can't hear it.
I hope you can't hear that.
I do feed him, I promise.
Yeah. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? It's like
We've just grabbed some time before lunch, so that's why.
Yes.
It's hungry.
He's hungry. Anyway, so here we have it. Now, please, I'm going to read this. This is a heavy letter, but I'm going to read it because you need to understand the type of gravity that we're dealing with, that the authorities are dealing with, that the lawyers are dealing with. This stuff is important to read. And it's good that you can understand what challenges face us all as activists.
Before Mark does, just now when he was reading that, it said about that he understands that that Mark Latham isn't raising any allegations, historic or current. Now, what I will say is that's the problem a lot of us face when we're activists, not actually bringing forward any specific cases. It's very hard to get heard because you're kind of pushed to the back because you're not considered a priority to listen to. That's why it's been such a battle, and why we implore people who are in a position where you have been abused and you're a survivor of abuse. And that's why it's so important that it's not just you. Don't think, oh well, it's only me, I can cope in my life, and I'm going to just get on with my life and forget it. You have the right to be heard, and you will be heard, and it helps people like Mark, myself and other activists be heard on your behalf, because they can see that we're actually trying to make people hear you. So you will be heard if you go to the authorities, and they will listen to you. So that's what I just wanted to say on that point.
Sure.
Anyway.
In fact, it's vital.
It's vital.
Okay, this is a letter from the legal department, the lawyers themselves, from Watchtower, April 12th, 2013. It's addressed to my chief constable.
And it's from London as well, which is great, because they were saying about, oh, it's American.
It's all headed notepaper from London.
Which is good.
And through to my chief constable, Suzette Davenport. And this is what it says, so please just bear with me. I'm doing this deliberately. So after the investigation with the elders, This is the reply. It took a long time to come through, but here it is.
Watch Taz reply.
Dear Madam, we are in receipt of the letter of March 18th, 2013 from Detective Inspector Mark Chicken. So yes, get the laughter over with. That's his surname.
Mark
Let's move on. Mark Chicken, that's his surname. Who's the Detective Inspector. Child Abuse Investigations Team. Addressed to our legal department and copied to Mr. Martin Horwood, MP. In this, DI Chicken refers to Jehovah's Witnesses Child Safeguarding Policy as adopted by congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United Kingdom and Ireland, a copy of which was provided for him at a meeting with local congregation elders. He cites a concern that has been raised direct with the MP's office, well that was me, and elaborates that these concerns centre around the use of elders to resolve child protection concerns within a congregation rather than these being correctly reported to the appropriate authorities, police and social care. And also the two-witness rule regarding allegations made against Jehovah's Witnesses. Right, here we go. While we are grateful that DI Chicken has taken the trouble to state his concerns, we note that they are unspecific and do not include any reference to statute. The policy was formulated, their policy, child safeguarding policy that is, the policy was formulated with the help of appropriately qualified professional secular advice, including fully qualified, I'll repeat, fully qualified independent experts and leading counsel and of the spiritual leadership of our faith, the governing body. So we are confident that it both complies with the law and provides appropriate safeguarding for children in the context of our faith community's activity. And there's the slippery fish. Okay, let me just read that bit again. We are confident it complies with the law and provides appropriate safeguarding for children in the context of our faith community's activity. What does that mean? It would be odious to repeat the full provisions of the 53-page policy. Well, yes, because all of it is an absolute load of rubbish, as we all know, that anybody's had the time to read one of these things. But we wish to draw our attention in particular to the clause 1. All children have the right to be protected from abuse. Clause 2. Safeguarding children is of the utmost importance. We abhor child abuse and consider it to be a serious sin and a crime. Clause 3. Jehovah's Witnesses do not condone child abuse under any circumstances or endeavour to shield from the authorities those committing offences of this nature. Clause 5. The congregation does not and will not provide or sponsor any activities that fall within the scope of regulated activity relating to children, as defined in the Safeguarding Vulnerable Groups Act 2006, as amended from time to time. This includes creches, playgroups, Sunday schools, youth groups, clubs, choirs or camps. In addition, the policy expressly provides for congregation elders to comply with any relevant laws. Clause 10. To ensure that parental responsibility holders, but with the exclusion of alleged abusers, become aware of allegations as soon as practicable. Clause 13. And in any cases when a child may still be at risk of significant harm, as defined by law and decided cases, to take measures to ensure the matter is reported to the police or other appropriate authorities. Can you read that just then? Can I read that last sentence again? Where a child may still be at risk of significant harm as defined by law, to take measures to ensure the matter is reported to police or other appropriate authorities. They said that. The so-called, they're calling it the so-called two-witness rule has no relevance to the reporting of crime to secular authorities. This pastoral canon, which is founded in Scripture, does not appear in the policy statement. You don't say. Okay, so and the rest is just waffle. But the reason I mention that is that there is some gravity to this. I could talk about this for another hour just on that alone, but I'm not going to. There are some important points to remember, though, that they have made it very clear that as a result of the laws of the land in the United Kingdom, and let's be specific for here, in the United Kingdom for now, they're not breaking any laws.
No.
And you know what? They're not.
They're not. That's the annoying thing.
What's going on here is that they are telling blatant and utter lies, that they are taking measures to report this to the police and to the appropriate authorities. That's a lie. We all know it's a lie, but they're carrying on with it. What they are then throwing into the mix as lawyers is to say that these creches, playgroups, Sunday group and youth groups, clubs, choirs, camps, we don't do any of that. So therefore we're excluded from all of this. Can't you see that? If you can come up with an individual case, then we're quite happy to look at it, but we're not involved. And as for the two-witness rule, it's nothing to do with child abuse.
What I will say is we watched a video today that was shared on a group that we're in, and it was about David. I think, is it
David's Story?
David's Story it's called.
Yeah.
And it's a man or a gentleman in America, so not in the UK, but why I'm using this as an example is because I think it's relevant. He was abused while sharing on one occasion, many occasions he was abused, but on this one occasion he was sharing a bed with another brother, the abuser, to save money at a convention. And now it might not be a Sunday school, or it might not be as they say it, but elders take young children out on the ministry,
yes, they do.
on a one-to-one in a
Yes,
vehicle. They are quite, there's many opportunities that they have where they're on their own with children.
Yeah.
And also we know of cases in England people we've spoken to where their child was abused in their own home at a book study,
yes,
with other witnesses in there.
Yeah.
They were in the kitchen or in the other room. While they were in their kitchen making coffee, their child was being abused in the other room. It doesn't take those circumstances there for a child to be abused. But going back to this video about David, watch it. I'll put the link at the bottom of this video because I think it's a really good video for people to watch, because he goes into the Kingdom Hall, and and it's a Kingdom Hall where they all know him. So, but it brings out something about the two-witness rule, and he's now disfellowshipped, and apparently his abuser is also disfellowshipped. However, they said, well, have you gone to the authorities? They had to ask him, have you gone to the authorities? Because they hadn't gone. But then later on, they said, if you come back to the Kingdom Hall, we will have to call the authorities. So they're okay about calling authorities when it comes to him coming to the Kingdom Hall to disrupt the meeting. But when it comes to a serious assault with abuse, they leave it to the person.
In the 15th minute of the video, they actually ironically use the two-witness rule on him.
On him.
So that's an interesting point. So have a good look at that when you see it. And as ex-witnesses, you will notice lots of things in there that maybe the outsiders won't see.
Yeah.
But it's just a very good insight into, and we're very grateful to him for doing this and sharing it with us all.
So on the bottom,
Yeah, so
I'll put the link to that video because it's worth the watch, but I'll also put the link to Alexandra James's article and a few other things that I can find.
So far we've emphasised two things here. We've given you that real heavy letter from the lawyers, looking at how slippery they are and how they're using the law itself to say that we're doing nothing wrong. The law is there, we're complying with the law, leave us alone, we're doing nothing wrong. So there's this bedrock. There's, as activists, that's the type of thing we're looking at. Two things. First of all of the survivors that are out there that are now reporting their cases, please, we encourage you, it's the most important part of all. Go straight to ICSA. Make sure if you want to share it with The Guardian, please do. I think The Guardian will be extremely helpful.
What it is there is an article in The Guardian, obviously,
Yeah.
and it had a thing at the bottom saying if you've been abused, please contact
Yeah.
us here. But ICSA have had that out now for quite a while.
A long time, and it's important that you go straight to ICSA with it first. If you then want to share it with The Guardian, who are doing this round robin to see how many statistically we're looking at here, please do, because it could be very helpful in
now
the future.
You're probably wondering what ICSA is, because I've only just brought that up, but we
Yeah.
haven't actually mentioned, and that was another reason for doing the video. Because ICSA are now looking, they're not actually currently including Jehovah's Witnesses in their investigation. However,
No.
they, through Mark and our local MP, Alex Chalk, you're in contact with ICSA, aren't you?
Yes, what's happened since then is that I've had to say that. I want to make that very clear about please report your story. Make sure you get it into ICSA. They really do need to see it now.
Yeah.
But things are starting to change. Now, we've been working together, my MP and I now, for a while on this subject of getting through to ICSA to make it very clear to them that we believe that the Watchtower should have its own separate stream of investigation, simply because of the uniqueness of their procedures and their institutional procedures, which we believe and can strongly argue, and this isn't anecdotal evidence anymore, we have many legal cases which can show that through the concealment of the predator through the two-witness rule, it leaves them vulnerable. So ICSA need to take this on. Whether they do or not, they're turning their heads now and they're taking notice. Why? Because our MP, Alex Chalk, has been extremely vocal, busy. He was with us on the BBC recently a few weeks ago.
Back in November.
In
last
November,
year.
yes,
Yeah,
and making it clear that he was committed to getting the Watchtower to change its ways.
He's even said to Mark, and he actually reiterated it actually within the BBC documentary that, well, the newscasting that they did, that he wants to raise a question in Parliament, and he wants to do it across the.
It's a backbench. Well, I'll come on to that in a second.
Okay.
And shut up, be quiet.
I'm jumping the gun.
You're jumping the gun.
I am jumping the gun.
So
I'm
we'll come on to that one in a minute. You blonde. Yeah, very nice too. But anyway, so going back to this point, it's important that everybody writes into ICSA. If you have, or you're a family member and you've got one of your own family that have been involved in this type of awful tragedy, get involved. Write to ICSA.
They've even been advertising on the radio.
Yes.
Because they have a separate actually have a separate area that you can go to.
Now,
it's,
if you want the links for that, if you go on to jwvictims.org, all the links are there. Alexandra James has done a fantastic job of putting that there for everybody to see, and we strongly advise you to do it. Now, getting on to the next part, as activists, we can see that there is a long-term effort involved here to change Watchtower's ways. It's not going to happen on our own. Now, we've got to admit that. It's going to have to come from power brokers, people that are in the know, that can actually start to make a convincing argument to the bedrock of our democracy, our legislator, which is Parliament itself. Now, one of the things that we're doing, as you know, Alex Chalk is working and has written to other MPs. He's writing to ICSA and he's looking for a response from them. It seems as though they're warming to that, but it's not enough. We need your support now on a very important matter that I'm about to bring up. And here it is. As activists, it's a long, long time to achieve anything. We can go for the short tabloid announcement, or you need to write in and just do that. It's not enough. We now need to get behind Alex, and the way to do it is the following. If you've got a fire in your belly over this child abuse issue that is going on not just in our country but across the world, please find out who your local constituent MP, your Member of Parliament, is. And don't be intimidated by this. They are a member of the public who've taken on, they've taken on this service for you, and they want to represent you. So that's their job to represent you. So when you, I would strongly advise that you write a letter or email them through to their secretary or researcher and say, can I have an appointment please to come and see you, a surgery. A letter is good, but it's not enough. Go and see them. Sit down with them. You'll find them very approachable and they will be interested in what you have to say. Secondly, take along with you some research documents. Alexandra James has got a very good pamphlet there that you can either send them email by link or you can print it off yourself. It's an excellent document. You don't have to do the work yourself. It's already been done. The wheel does not have to be reinvented. Take it along with you. It's very powerful, it's very succinct, and it will give them a better understanding of where we're coming from. And then this is the important part that you can play with your MP. Ask your MP, please, if you can see that what we're trying to deal with here is we want change. We want the Watchtower to change its policy on how it safeguards its children. At the moment, it's refusing to change its policy. I've read you a letter that says we have nothing to change, we're not breaking any laws.
There was also a video recently they did where they said they will not be changing the
We
two-witness rule.
refuse.
We refuse to change the two-witness rule.
The two-witness rule.
I'm not having that.
And this is all about predominantly the two-witness rule. How you can have in a modern society a two-witness rule to allegations of child rape,
which
is
they say
beyond.
in that letter that they don't, it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Well, we all know
It does.
they do apply.
But you see, in law, that's where the arguments come in, because it gets very complex as to the reasons why we are trying to relate the two together. They will try and push it the other way and say it's nothing to do with it. This is a purely spiritual matter. But we know, in reality, it isn't. So get your MP involved. Say, can I ask for you a commitment, please? And speak to Alex Chalk. You're my Member of Parliament. Now get in contact with Alex. Write to him to say, what can I do to assist you as we go forward?
We know that Alex is actually talking to MPs across
Yes,
other
he is.
parties. He's
Yeah.
not just talking to MPs in his own
No.
Conservative party. He's talking to, because Mark and he went through all the different people that would be good to contact.
Sure.
And Mark was bringing up ones from the Labour, and he was going, brilliant, and he was writing these names down.
Tom Watson, for instance,
Tom Watson,
the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, is a
excellent.
strong advocate of those that have abused children, and he has stood up and he's taken bullets for this. So he will be a strong advocate for us as well. So what we're looking at is a cross-party group of MPs to come together for a backbench debate, and it's going to happen.
It will happen.
It needs to happen. Now, along with that, we're also looking to plan, and I'll be talking to Alex to look at the logistics of getting us into Parliament with, we hope, the lawyers. We know the lawyers will want to be involved. Kathleen Hallisey has been fantastic advocate for everything that she's done. We strongly have nothing but the strongest endorsement of her and her teams. And she has even been on the front line with us delivering leaflets. The last time we went to Parliament Day, she thoroughly enjoyed herself. But we love and respect her. But she too will come to Parliament when we arrange this, and probably other lawyers too, along with policemen, politicians, and another important factor here. We're going to organise we want the Charity Commission to be involved in this too. Why? Because they have been working behind the scenes now for a very long time on Watchtower, and they have a lot of data, very good data, lots of individual experiences on how the institution of Watchtower works regarding child abuse allegations. Now, all of this is not anecdotal, it's all written up and ready to be used. It's just about us joining the dots. Alex is up for this. We're now having a meeting very shortly. But what you can do now, and what we need, it's not just about us, it's not about Alex, it's about all of us together working as a team. And so please, if you have a fire in your belly, I can't ask you strongly enough, we've never asked anybody of anything. I am now. For the first time, we can smell that we're getting close to something here. But we now need you to continue not only writing your own experiences, but as you're an activist, or maybe you're both. We've got lots of friends that are survivors and activists. Please get your MP involved. Get them to commit to you. Show them and give them all of the documents, and ask them to support Alex Chalk here in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Now, once we've got that, that's plan B. We've got our Parliament Day Part 2 being organised. We've got ICSA now that are turning around. It's taken a long time for them to actually start to see that, but it's because of what's happening with the MPs that they are now turning their heads and starting to realise maybe we should be looking at Jehovah's Witnesses. It's starting to work. We need to believe in ourselves and make this happen. So on all of those fronts, writing your survivors' letters, get down to see your MP, take some time out, don't be intimidated, make it happen, please.
When we were speaking to Sarah on an email, the Guardian reporter, Mark did a correspondence, an email to her. We know that when she was asking for people to come and send their stories, if you're going to send to the Guardian, make sure you also send a copy to ICSA. Because although it's great for the Guardian to have more and more abuse stories coming from, to keep them hungry at putting the pressure on keeping this in the papers, vice versa, that if you put in the pressure on ICSA with those, then they can see that it's in the paper, but they can also see that they need to put pressure on ICSA to put it and get it investigated. So it's a two-fold. But also, by anyone out there that's been an abuse victim or a survivor of abuse, if you don't do your stories, then if you may think that it's a small voice, but those small voices, your voice is massive when it's combined with everyone else. And the more people that write into their MPs on behalf of the victims, people like us that are writing to our local MP, and others we know that are doing the same, you're going to encourage abuse victims to come forward, because they can see that they are going to be listened to, they are going to be heard, and that people do care. So I think if everyone just does their part, it doesn't matter how insignificant you think your bit will be, trust me, it will have a huge effect.
Make a difference.
BCB, in the abuse case in the Royal Australian Commission, we had the privilege of meeting her last year, and her lovely daughter, and we spent a lovely day together. We did. And I
had a lovely Sunday roast.
And she was explaining to us about how she didn't know or think or realise how much her story would have an impact. Well, we all know with the Royal Australian Commission how much everyone has sat up and gone, and everyone's quoting it now. She didn't realise just how much that had gone round the world, but she thought her story, when she was giving her story, was insignificant.
She did.
But she wanted some kind of justice from that. She wanted to be heard. But she's not just been heard, she's encouraged others from hearing her talk and speak up. So if she hadn't have done that, along with BCG, then we wouldn't be where we are today to be able to refer to the Royal Australian Royal Commission as a sort of setting the standard, really, for bringing to light all of the abuse that's gone on.
Sure. So
you think about how many predators there were in Australia in connection to how many witnesses there are. Then you look at the UK, and it's much bigger.
It's a massive can of worms
much bigger.
That is about to open. So what Cora's saying there about this will encourage, we hope it'll encourage many survivors that have kept their stories to themselves for years to come forward. If you're looking for private advice, we can give our email address also about where to go. If you're looking for legal advice, we know exactly where we can refer you to. We don't have to know your personal details, but we can refer you on.
We know of one recently that was historic, that it happened many years ago, but they've just gone to the lawyers now. So it doesn't have to have been in the last couple of years.
You're not alone.
It could have been many years ago, but it doesn't matter. In fact, that letter said historic or current. So it doesn't matter how long ago it was, you still have a right to be heard. And again, I urge you to watch the video of David's story, because you can hear the emotion, how it still affects him today as he's relaying or relating some of his past, what happened to him, to the elders in front of him.
Another person that we want to say a big thank you to is Louise Good, and all of the work that she's been doing as well. Well done, Lou. Thank you. And we will be doing a podcast on JW community podcast, and we're looking to do that shortly.
The new podcast channel looks amazing.
Yes, and one of the reasons that we want to do that is we want to talk about activism that's working in all its different areas, from whether or not it's on the pavement with the placards, right the way through to the very strategic stuff that we're now talking about, that we've opened up to you with today. You see, this is the next step. If we want to get Watchtower to change, it's not going to.
No.
But we need to make it change. Yeah. And we're looking for the legislator to bring in that change through mandatory reporting as an absolute minimum. So that can only be brought about through government bringing in laws, through ICSA making their recommendations, through the Charity Commission doing its work, and for us to join all of the dots together and get as many MPs together to say, do you know what, this is disgusting and it needs to change. There's 2-witness rule. If they want to keep that as part of their spiritual belief, fine. But the next time they hear about somebody that's been molested or raped, they will by law have to report it. And that's what we're looking for.
Mandatory reporting.
This is your chance now to get involved
and make a difference.
And make a difference. You don't have to spend weeks, months, years being involved in this stuff like we have, but get your MP awake to what's going on and do your duty. Share this, and now's the time, because we're right on the cusp of doing something a little bit special here, but we need as much support from the politicians now as we move into Parliament and as we move into ICSA. And if ICSA doesn't work, we're still moving into Parliament anyway for a backbench debate, cross-party, Bob's your uncle.
Pressure.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Pressure, pressure, pressure.
No bad news here at all.
No.
But I just want to say thank you to Mike and Kim, because I know you've
Yes.
been working tirelessly. Not only have you been doing video after video, but you've also been helping so many people, and you keep getting poorly, and that's because you're doing a lot.
You're draining
I
yourselves.
don't think people realise just how much you do.
Yeah.
You don't just do, you're not just with the stuff you get people see, but it's the stuff you're doing behind the scenes that we're very much aware of. And Crisis of Conscience just being relaunched as well.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Deborah, for getting that
Thank
out.
you, Deborah.
I'm really looking
You're
forward. We've
a
got
genius.
2 copies on its way, but we also know that
Yeah.
we've been given a gift of one as well from Mike and Kim.
And if
so
you
thank
haven't, if you look on Amazon and get the original, the proper copy now.
£18 something, I think.
Yeah.
Just under £19 for a hard
Strongly
copy.
recommend Crisis of Conscience to all of those individuals that haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
You need a copy.
Don't go for any bootleg copies out there
No.
that we know have been around, floating around.
Stick
for
to
a
the
while.
genuine copy.
Stick to the genuine one. You know which one it is. It's the one with Raymond Franz's face on.
Yes.
And if you have any issues with not sure which one it is, speak to Mike and Kim. We're happy to tell you as well. But you know, you can tell the genuine copies. And one thing that Deborah was stressing, Deborah Dexter, the copyright owner, she was saying she doesn't want people being having to pay more for the book.
No.
She wanted to keep it at an affordable price. So if you see it above sort of the £20, or what is it, that would be $30,
whatever the original.
anything above that, then it's not the original.
So
it's not there. It's been bought and then it's being resold, or it's being sold
clean
through another company.
But please get better soon, Mike and Kim.
Yeah, and we're sending lots of love to her.
Yes,
to you.
we are, and we hope that you're better soon. But keep up the good work. You're doing a fantastic job.
But
love the nails in the coffin.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's so many people coming out. It's crazy.
Oh,
It really is. I mean, as we were saying at the beginning about how many people are now doing videos, it's just so lovely, and we can't keep up with them all. It's
I know,
great.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see so many voicing, getting their voice out there.
Looking forward to the protest in August.
Yes, that's right.
It's actually our wedding anniversary on that day.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of how we can do this and make it a weekend, so we get to spend a bit of time together, because we've been very busy. We haven't really seen each other very much, which has been a shame.
Yeah, we've been busy. We've got that's one of the reasons a lot of people have been asking, why haven't we done videos? Well, we've been involved with we've got a separate company that we've now set up. We're very busy with 2 companies, and we're not stopping there. So all in all, family life as well, everything moves on.
But you don't need us to do videos, because you've got so many fantastic new people coming along. Anyone and everyone can do a video. You don't have to be technically advanced, or you can just use your mobile phone and upload. You know, it's amazing. Get your own story out there.
We will be doing some more in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't need to see us.
But please, just to finish that off, that letter, rewind this video and read it again and again, you'll get to realise just the mindset of the lawyers.
It goes like this a few times.
They do not, and they will not budge.
No.
It's up to us now to get our MPs involved. They are the brokers of power, and we can do our part, but it's the MPs that are working for us that we can now motivate and get this going. We've got a campaign started, we've got it agreed with an MP, we've got it agreed with a number of MPs. Now let's make it happen. Please go and see your MP. That's the one thing I'm asking from the community now. If you're not going to go, ask yourself why. Why aren't you going to go? This is too important. You can play a part now. Let's really hit this home and make a massive change, because we can do it as activists.
I'm going to go and feed the husband because the belly
growling
is going...
tummy. All right, well, thank you for your patience for listening to us, and I'm sure we'll be doing another one.
Yes. Yeah. And it's Mother's Day tomorrow. So
yes, Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there.
Yeah.
So lots of love, and we hopefully will see you again soon.
See you. Bye for now.
Bye.